Embarrassment is the cost of entry. Authenticity wins across our channels, honestly. 20 million. My favourite quote, which is from Steven Bartlett, and he says,
"This is Amelia Miller, and she just raised £1 million for her startup Ivee only 6 months after winning over Deborah Meaden and Steven Bartlett on Dragon's Den." While everyone's talking about their rapid growth and success, everyone is overlooking their hidden weapon, LinkedIn. Over the last year, Amelia and Ivee have been everywhere on the platform. They've been building in public, posting through the highs and lows, and using founder-led content to make Ivee one of the most visible startup brands on the planet.
So I did a LinkedIn post and we got hundreds of sign-ups off the back of just that post.
So I jumped on a Zoom call with Amelia, and she worked on her full LinkedIn strategy. She told me how she uses vulnerable posts to build a fan base, how she turns hate articles into content that drives thousands of signups to her startup, and why educational content is for losers. Let's dive in. From my side, it feels like you, Ivee, burst onto the scene over the last 12 months. Obviously on Dragon's Den, you were in the Times. Most of all, I feel like I saw you and the team all over my LinkedIn feed. But to start off, like someone who's been like living under a rock for the last 12 months, how would you explain kind of who you are and what you do?
Ivee is an AI upskilling and talent ecosystem. Anyone that is looking to learn and figure out what the latest AI tools are in their particular industry for their particular role, knowledge share via our peer-to-peer network, upskill themselves, have a living AI skills profile, can do so on Ivee. And that's whether you're looking for a role or you're employed and you're just worried about your job being taken, or perhaps you're thinking that you could be more efficient than you currently are. Come to us, join our community and upskill yourself. In terms of how we work with companies, it's 2 different ways. They use us to upskill their teams, and then they also use us to hire AI fluent talent from our talent pool. But we actually didn't start out this way. We actually launched the business about 18 months ago. We have massively expanded over the past 6 to 8 months. We've been really obviously listening to the market, following our data, and just seeing the type of content on the platform that was resonating was all of our AI related stuff.
You spent a lot of time posting on LinkedIn. That's where I'm seeing kind of all the content right now. Is LinkedIn a massive part of your marketing mix, or is it just one of many? Kind of where are you placing it right now?
It's one of many, but it is, of our organic social platforms, it is the most fruitful of those, followed by TikTok, then followed by Instagram, then followed by Facebook. We've seen great success through LinkedIn. Those aren't our only marketing channels. We also put a lot of time into SEO and GEO, as well as PR. All of those are unpaid channels. We don't yet pay for marketing. We're starting to dip our toes in, but it makes me really effing scared, to be honest, to just burn cash. So we've been very hesitant to do that. But of our social channels, LinkedIn is the most fruitful. Quite self-explanatory because we started as a recruitment play, and obviously LinkedIn is a recruitment platform, and now foraying into the AI upskilling game. Of course, people come to LinkedIn to want to learn and to want to find a job. So it's very natural that we've done well on there. But not a lot of companies do well on there, and it's not like we're posting terrible LinkedIn content. We've definitely learned the algorithm, we game the algorithm so that we are able to be successful and cut through the noise.
And your strategy from the outside looking in seems very founder-led. I think you yourself featuring a massive amount of the content. What's your thought process behind that?
Very purposeful. From day one, we were very clear that we would be building out loud. It would be very founder-led, and we were going to be focusing fully on organic content marketing and not paying for marketing early on. The reason being is I definitely am a bit of a nerd when it comes to this, and I do map what successful brands do in those early days. And in my opinion, well, my thesis here is it's never been easier to build software. It's never been easier to build a company. There's a lot of companies now being spun up in any particular industry with tools like Lovable or Replit. You can become a founder overnight. And that means the companies that are able to cut through that noise via a brand and good marketing are the ones that are winning. And so it was a no-brainer that we were going to be very founder-focused, build out loud. There are some other great brands out there that do it, and it's just a fantastic way to leverage customers early on.
You've got very personal on LinkedIn at times. You've posted photos of you crying, that you talked about the negatives that have gone on. In this call, you've talked about things that have changed, but you also mix in obviously the high level insights. You're talking about becoming AI native, the education. From a content perspective, how are you thinking about blending, being personal, having a personal brand, but also marketing the company at the same time?
The first thing anyone should do on LinkedIn as a creator, as an individual, because we should think of ourselves as CEOs, founders, as creators, is have clear brand pillars and never stray away from those. So mine are building out loud as a founder, highs and lows, things like that. AI and recruitment, that's more see me as an expert here, see me as a thought leader. And then the gender pay gap and women in tech, things like that. That brand pillar is actually becoming a little out of date for me. So I'm thinking about whether I need to refresh that. Brand pillars can change, but if you don't have brand pillars, you might just spray and pray random content, and it really helps me compartmentalize. I'll never post anything that strays outside of those three. And to that point, it means that some of my posts can be about AI upskilling, and then the next post can be a video of me crying. And that's okay because people know what they're getting when they follow me. They know they're getting both. But the main thing above all of that is authenticity and making your followers feel like they are on this journey with you. And it's so powerful because people really feel like they're along for the ride. They're so much more willing to be a champion of your company, speak to strangers in the street about your company, turn up to your events when they've never met you before. You know, all of that really important stuff in the early stages of a business comes from being authentic. I also follow the algorithm. You know, I look at all my data, and my crying posts perform really well. So every time I cry, I get my camera out because I'm like, this is going to be a great LinkedIn post.
Do you ever feel like, oh, how much of it is a marketing channel? How much of it is like Amelia's brand? And like, how do you think about balancing that?
I'm very far removed from it being a marketing channel. I really will never do a post purely plugging or selling Ivy because people don't come. LinkedIn's social media at the end of the day. Like, you know, we can package it up as a professional network all we want. Like, it's one of the big social media networks, and people don't come on there to buy, you know, and people don't follow people to buy. And I know that my LinkedIn is a long game. I know that I'm not building it for quick wins and quick customers. I'm building it to have a big following over the next 5 years, be seen as a thought leader. It's not quick wins, quick customers.
So far in the interview, Amelia's talked a lot about how LinkedIn's been massive for them from a brand awareness perspective and putting Ivy on the map, but it also needs to drive commercial value to the business as well. So I asked her, if you're not seeing LinkedIn as a sales channel, how do you drive revenue through LinkedIn into the business Ivy? And she answered it perfectly. Here's what she said in the interview.
I'll give you a good example. I did a post about, after we went on Dragon's Den, someone wrote a hate article about us, like dedicated to why nobody should invest in us. Obviously, I was like, brilliant LinkedIn post. So I did a LinkedIn post on it, and I wasn't plugging Ivy. It did extremely well because I knew that had viral potential. And we got, I think, almost 1,000 sign-ups, like hundreds of sign-ups off the back of just that post. And that is way better than any post I would do going, sign up to Ivy today. So it's just the way you think about it as a channel. And yeah, you're not a salesperson flogging a product for a quick win. You're playing the long game for sure.
I see a lot of your team posting now too. I think Laura, Abby, a bunch of them have started posting. Is that something that's happened naturally with you posting? Or is that something that you're pushing internally?
I push it very heavily internally. I do a session probably once every quarter on personal branding, and I'll refresh it or I'll add to it for the team. I also do this, like, some companies have asked me to come in and do this. I'm so passionate about it because building a personal brand is the single best thing you can do for your career alongside AI upskilling. Even better if one of your brand pillars in your personal brand has to do with AI and AI upskilling. Like, it is the only way, really, because of the way that the market is going and careers are going and everyone is now at risk. Don't want this to sound too doomsday, but it's true. And it's all well and good knowing AI, but if you don't shout and scream about the fact that you know it or you're learning it or you're doing great things in your job, no one's going to know and no one's going to care. And so it's super important. I don't mandate, sorry, I want to mandate, but I don't, the team to do posts. Very strongly nudge. I try and get the team to do a weekly post. It's obviously comes more natural to some versus others. We've just hired 2 founders associates actually, and Isaac, one of our founders associates, it's like loving LinkedIn. We're starting a founders associate, kind of the office style mockumentary video series with him. Whereas someone like Lydia, my co-founder, it doesn't come as naturally. She doesn't enjoy ideating and creating content as much as I do. But it's extremely important for anybody. And I know that, you mentioned Lara and Abby. I know that if Ivy collapsed tomorrow and they were needing to find a job, they would be able to find a job without hitting the job market because they have now been able to build a brand on LinkedIn. Like Lara, she's 22, she just turned 23, fresh out of Durham, but she's now viewed as a GEO expert. She's quoted in Sifted. People message her all the time, trying to poach her and get her opinions. And for me, that's a great thing because that's going to be fantastic for her career going forward. And of course, there is a knock-on effect, which is people see her posts, know about Ivy, see Ivy, as that knock-on, that secondary effect.
Amelia, really quick, rapid-fire questions. How many impressions did you generate on LinkedIn last year? Guesstimate.
Oh my gosh. across our channels, honestly, 10, 20 million.
Beautiful. Favourite person you follow on LinkedIn?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. Two, Amy Smale, who's the founder of a company called Odd Muse. And then I will say Steven Bartlett, because he makes great content.
Thing you hate most about LinkedIn?
AI slop, when people post AI-generated captions with M dashes.
If you had to sum up your LinkedIn strategy in one sentence, what would it be?
Authenticity wins.
Amelia is living proof of the commercial impact you can have just by leveraging LinkedIn and using founder-led content to drive your marketing forward. Ivee spend next to £0 on their marketing, yet they're featured in massive publications and one of the most visible startups on the planet. And I think most brands, not just startups, can take their strategy and apply it to their business and get that out of LinkedIn as well. But if you want to see more insights on how founders, brands, startups are using LinkedIn for their marketing, subscribe for more, and I shall see you in the next video.